Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're talking with Robert about his 2018 5.3L Silverado LT, going over all of his mods and taking a look at his photos. Now, if you want to see more photos and his mods list, head over to the customer build profile pages on the website, and if you're watching on YouTube, click the link below. Hopefully this gets you inspired for things that you can possibly do to your Silverado in the future. You want to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all future product videos, more interviews, content, and news. What do you say we connect with Robert? Robert, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk with me about your truck. I'm really excited to have you on here.
I'm glad to be here. Hope I can help.
Awesome. Let's jump right into it here. So, Robert, you have a 2018 5.3L Silverado LT. And one of the first things I like to ask people, right off the bat is, with all the trucks on the road nowadays, how'd you pick the 2018 that you have here?
I just like the look of it. I like the sound of it. I mean, it can be nice and quiet until I step on it. I was never a Ford guy, and I grew up with Chevys and Internationals all my life, working on a farm.
Now, you said earlier to me that you're interested in, modding things right off the bat. Something about this truck seemed a little bit bland to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the only thing I realized about all trucks, mainly the Chevy. They come kind of standard plain. It just didn't have everything I wanted. And I knew there were certain things I wanted right at the bat anyways, like a bed liner, some rain guards, and obviously steps, because I have a bad right hip. I started out with regular running boards. Made me feel like a grandpa. And then being on job sites, I ended up driving on there and hitting the rock and ruining them. So I got these new ones, the Amp Research ones that recess right into the bottom of the truck. I love them because I get that nice truck look, and I get the step when I need it. So.
Yeah, those side steps are one of the more premium, more expensive options, but they're so unique. That's a category that's got hundreds of options. I was gonna ask you why you picked that one, but it sounds like regular running boards that don't retract up are kind of getting stuck on things.
Yeah, at job sites or when you go in the woods.
Now I know that those, as soon as you open the door, the side steps drop down and you can hop out. When you shut the door, they retract back up. Is that something that you would recommend other people? Is the running board that retracts something that you're happy with?
Oh yeah, I like it for the cool factor, don't get me wrong, but I also like it because of the functionality of it. I just like the truck look. Anything that's useful like that, but can be hidden away when I don't need it, I kind of like the idea. I always really been using vertical space and really making the most of what you got,
Now, aside from the side step, you got some other things going on. Another thing that you mentioned earlier to me was your taillights. So you have Axial black LED taillights, and in my opinion, the factory Silverado taillights are so red and in your face. What drew you to the Axial black LED taillights?
Well, LED first of all, which is brighter, but it's more like a direct condensed hotspot. And I did like the look of it. They had the backward C's. They grew on me, and a lot of people commented on my taillights. I couldn't believe it.
Kind of going over one of the things that you mentioned was the tonneau cover. So you have the Tonno Pro TonnoFold bed cover. Can you tell me a little bit about that one? Is it a hard fold, a soft fold?
It's a soft that folds the tri-fold. I love the thing, and it's actually held up to somebody breaking into it. They actually bent the bar. I was just looking actually because you guys sent me an email on $50 off on one of those roll-up ones. I mean, it's more secure having the rolled-up one, from what I can tell. But then it was a lot easier to take off the Tonno. What if you need that room? You got to take that retractable box and the whole retractable system off.
That in itself would be a tall order. That's a task,
You know what I really want to talk about that I just put on and I freaking love? Those MSD ignition coils.
I feel like that's not typically something that people modify. They might do it if their factory packs need to be replaced. What made you pick those up initially?
I just like performance. I mean, my truck has been getting 1.2 to 1.4 miles per gallon, and the power it's kind of hard to explain. I don't have more bottom end, but that mid and top, it just screams it wants to go. So, I mean, I want to have as much performance and power. Plus, I'm trying to save on gas. I mean, that's why I did the cold air intake. That's why I did the aerator.
That I was actually going to ask you. So, you have the Volant closed box cold air intake with the oiled filter. Now, that's a very specific cold air intake. That's another category, much like the side steps and the tonneau cover, that has literally just hundreds of options. And between oiled filters and dry filters and closed box and open box, how'd you pick that one?
Well, I really did like the style that I'm used to, where it's just a nice polished tube, a chrome tube with, the air filter on the end. But there was something about the whole idea of not having any kind of protection to that air filter that kind of bugged me. But when I put that on, I don't know, people say you hear that sound, sometimes you think your car or truck's faster, but I could feel it in the pedal too. I don't know how to explain it. It feels to come alive. It's like,
Absolutely. So that like coming alive feeling, it's throttle response, it's acceleration. It's not necessarily a big horsepower torque thing. You pick up a couple here and there. It's acceleration that you get out of that, you know? All right, so cold air intake. Let's go under the throttle body, the spacer that you said. You know, that's a part that's polarizing. You know, there are people out there that say like they live and die by it. They're like, that thing makes a difference. It's small, it's affordable, it's impactful.
It's hard to say, because if I would have put on a dyno, maybe, but for the price, the ease of putting it in, maybe even if it only gives you another horsepower, you know, it was worth it.
The claims from throttle body spacer manufacturers is that it's got that spiral vortex on the inside of it. There's a lot of things happening on the back end that you may not reap the benefits of in your mind driving the truck, but the engine itself is happier and running more efficient, and the air fuel is mixing more efficiently.
I do a lot of miles and a lot of highway miles, going to job site to job site. You know, I'm all over the place, so I drive long distances to get that fuel economy to see if it's really working, you know what I mean? I've been noticing at least 2 to 2.2 miles more per gallon. So you know, that could be, you know, 60 cents a mile you're saving, basically, you know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely. And one more mod I want to touch on before we close out with some of the smaller items, the Pedal Commander throttle response controller. I'm a huge fan. It's another one people are like, oh, that's BS, whatever.
It's not BS. It's not BS.
It makes a difference.
The problem is I found out that people that have it, or I've talked to people that bought them in the past, they think somehow it gives them more horsepower. It does. It just makes the response quicker, which I need a truck that when I step on it, I don't need that, you know, that I need, and it just goes.
Have you paired it up with towing your boat? Because I'm curious how that'll help, because pulling that so much more weight, your truck, the accelerations really wants more. And the throttle response controller is so freaking easy to put on there and make a difference. And I'm curious how that'll pair up with your boat. So I'll have to have you back on so we can talk about that.
The only suggestion I have to make is I didn't want it up in my face. I have it lower, but the problem is if it's nighttime, you can kind of see where you're set at. But during the day, it's really hard. Sometimes I have to pop it off and look like this and go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm on sport mode, you know?
Now, you have a couple of other smaller things I don't want to spend too much time on. You have the locking fuel door, so you put a little bit of an aggressive look with like the fake rivets all around it. They look really, really sharp against your truck color. And you also have like a windshield screen, you have chrome handle covers. How do you feel about those like smaller appearance things?
I love the gas. I wish Chevy came with a locking because it doesn't even have a cap inside. It's a capless system. I got it because of that main reason, because around here, people tend to steal fuel, and the truck has a lot of fuel. So a truck has 26 gallons of fuel, so it's a little bit more tempting for them to steal from us. I got the chrome handle for the tailgate. I got that because that black is so dull, and I was thinking about doing the door handles, but I said to myself, as much as I grab the door handles, I don't know how long those will last, but the chrome definitely looks good.
And you have a bunch of other things, like I said, you have the bed liner and a train horn, you have I see you put skull valve caps, we have a picture of that you 3D printed yourself. That's awesome. Before we get going, before we wrap up, I always like to ask, what are your main, if you had to give me like 3 main future plans for your truck, what do you think that you're thinking about?
Exhaust. If I ever win one of your contests, like $10,000, I might get that supercharger for my truck. I would like to maybe get a spray-on bed liner instead of I got an in-place one. I love the rims on my truck, but I wish to get bigger tires, but the only way to get bigger tires is bigger rims, obviously, so tires and rims would be my third choice.
Robert, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you walking me through all your mods. It's very tastefully modded. You got great plans for the future. I'm glad to hear that you're using your truck to its fullest potential. You're taking it off-road, you're taking it to the work site, towing a boat. You're doing everything right. I love it. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad that somebody appreciates, you know, that somebody uses their truck for what it's meant for, because I don't think a lot of people realize what they're meant for.
You're definitely not just taking it to the mall. You're doing stuff with it. Well, listen, I'll have to have you back on if you pick up all those mods we talked about. Until then, man, take care, be safe, and again, thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you, and have a good day, man.
Well, that's going to wrap this one up, guys. We just spoke with Robert about his 2018 5.3-liter Silverado LT, went over all of his mods and his photos, of course, and he's got a really clean daily driver truck there. If you want to see more of his photos and mods list and other customers like his, you want to check out the customer build profile pages on the website to get inspired for things that you can do to your own Silverado in the future. Now, subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all future content around Silverado, and keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.